The last time I was in intake was in 2006. I haven't been in intake since 2006. I was in intake here 5.5 months ago. And that was a very raw experience for me, something that I thought I was maybe prepared for. But it reminds you, there's it brought up a lot of raw anxiety, and, my nerves were jumping. And I was right back, at ground zero. And something that happened that first day that really just calmed me all the way down and let me know I was making the right decision and I was at the right place is there was an intake who was visibly sick. Again, something I haven't felt for years and years and years, and that energy is palpable. I was sharing the waiting room, with this intake, and they were sick, and they weren't happy. They were, we'll just say they were nasty. They were being, you know what I mean? They weren't feeling it. They were shaking, cold sweats. They were in the thick of it, and their attitude, it was coming out. And something that was incredible was, as mean and as some vile, nasty stuff, some pretty outrageous stuff that this intake was saying, one of the women at the front desk came back here multiple times to check on him, to offer him water, food, something to put in his stomach. And she was exercising her humility doing this. And every time this guy he was scorching her. He was not being nice to her. And she smiled right through that. I even talked to her afterwards, and just because I said it touched me, and she knew the assignment, she knew her purpose, and she was willing to take that on the chin for the greater good. And this guy was mean. He you know what I mean? But she knew that's that demon coming out. He's sick, and she knew that. And she smiled right through that and just wore her kindness on her sleeve and showed him nothing but grace in that situation. And I was a fly on the wall, but it was really touching. As mean and as toxic as you could tell he was being in that moment due to withdrawal. Not saying that that's his persona, but just, and she handled that with care and delicacy and just a deft hand, man, super graceful. And that was the first day, and it was kind of towards the end of the day, and I left here with a weight off my shoulders, knowing I was I am in the right place, because that's the kind of thing there's no amount of money that can pay someone to do that's a labor of love at that point. That's something that the way that she handled that is, the way that someone handles something when they believe in it. That's not a pay rate thing or I work here, so I'm just doing my job thing. It's pretty special. He said 20 times he wasn't showing up on day 2. But he showed up. And now I see him, different guy. Man, there's something so hypercritical about somebody willing to show you humility and grace in that situation. Because all you need is just the tiniest bit of incentive to get up and walk out of here. So, as delicate as it sounds, it really is. Someone bearing with you, and she said all the right things. I know I don't understand what you're going through, but I want to help you go through it. You know what I mean? Those kind of things, you can't fake the funk, man. That stuff is important. And I know from that, I in my experience, I didn't walk into a treatment center and get it right the first time. I actually, it took me 3 times to make it through an intake. And the time that I made it through, I had an angel like her. It was a him. But I had someone who was I just felt they really wanted me to, and those kind of things, especially when you've been living in the abyss and you're just living in that black hole of addiction, someone having even just the smallest bit of faith in you can go so long.